Hey team, in this video, I want to talk about an important part of getting a PhD, the part where you actually have to discover something brand new that's never been seen before, and how to make sure that happens naturally without needing a eureka moment to do it. A PhD is the highest level of academic qualification that you can get, and once you have one, you get to call yourself doctor. It's pretty cool. However, they can take a long time to complete, although that does depend on where you are in the world. If you work on it full-time in Europe, they take 3 or 4 years, and in the USA, they take around 7 years to complete. If you're starting a PhD soon, thinking about applying, or you've already started your PhD journey, please let me know in the comments below if any of this is useful, or if you have any other advice that you think is useful. I have a whole other video describing what it is to do a PhD, but here I want to focus on probably the most important part of it. Yeah, that's right. You have to make an original contribution to human knowledge. Personally, I think for many people starting a PhD, including me a few years ago, this discovering something new feels like the most daunting part. You know, turn up to university, read some textbooks and papers, go to some lectures and seminars, that's all fairly straightforward stuff. But discover something new that's never been seen before, that one's a bit more challenging. For me, I felt so far away from that point when I started my PhD that I thought, how could I ever get to the point where I'm making actual discoveries? And I guess that's what I want to talk about here. How to go from a newly minted PhD student all the way to someone who's publishing papers and making discoveries. I guess one disclaimer is that my background is in maths and physics, and I did a theoretical physics PhD in cosmology. So all of my experiences are in that sort of field, and really, I don't know how well they translate to other areas of study, so just bear that in mind. Let's start from the first day of your PhD. There are lots of other videos online talking about how to apply for a PhD and how to get onto a PhD, and I'll link some good ones I found in the description, but that's not what I want to focus on here. Let's say you've got an offer and you're off to start your many-year PhD journey. You're probably both excited and nervous to get working. I think it's fair to say that most people starting their PhD know relatively little. Sure, you have your undergrad or maybe a master's degree, maybe even some life and work experience as well, but you likely aren't at the level of cutting-edge research in your area. This gap in your knowledge is one of the most powerful tools in reaching the point of actually doing new research. I found that it's the very act of learning, of filling this gap, that gives you the capability to ask the right questions to make new discoveries. By the right questions, I just mean asking questions all of the time. Anytime there's something, no matter how small or how big, that you don't understand or doesn't seem right to you, question it. Ask your supervisor, ask the internet, ask your fellow PhD students. Most of the time, someone or some webpage will give you the right answer you needed, and you'll understand it and move on with your day. However, occasionally, you'll accidentally ask a question that no one can answer, even your supervisor or the textbooks and papers that you're looking at. And these are the questions that are really exciting. Sure, they're sometimes very frustrating, but they're also exciting too. It's these questions that you can follow, figuring out things as you explore them, and these can grow and turn into the brand new things that you learn about the world. Then the small issue of writing them up into a paper and thesis emerges, but that's another video entirely. For me at least, there was no sudden moment of shouting Eureka and making some huge breakthrough all in one go. Spoiler alert, that's not how most science is done. Instead, you continually question every small thing, chipping away at what you don't know, and bit by bit you emerge from the murk of your question and into the light of a small discovery. Enough for a PhD, but probably not enough for a Nobel Prize at this point. After you've been doing your PhD for a while, you'll probably wake up with ideas or questions, but most of them won't lead you too far. Anytime I woke up thinking I'd had a great idea or a sudden breakthrough, it was almost always wrong, or it had already been published like 40 years ago. You don't suddenly become an expert when you start your doctorate. You slowly grow into one by reading and talking and learning, chipping away at things, and I can't stress this enough, questioning everything that isn't clear to you. There's a chance that actually it isn't clear to anyone, ever, in the world. And answering that question is a contribution that you can make. It's also important not to put too much pressure on yourself to have any sort of breakthrough right at the beginning. It's incredibly unlikely that on day one you'll have a realization or ask the question that defines your PhD or turns into a paper. And you really don't have to make that sort of progress right at the start. Give it time. The interesting questions will probably only start to flow once you give your mind time to stew and ferment on all the new things that you're learning. Also, at the start, your supervisor will either have an idea of where they think the project will go, or they'll have some things they want you to start looking at. This is why you shouldn't need to stress too much about having useful insights straight away, because you aren't doing this alone. and your supervisor or supervisors will show you where to start and they'll guide you into the topic. Then, as you explore the things they suggest or discuss with you, keep asking about the things that aren't clear and let your capillaries of curiosity grow and explore your topic of research. This curiosity will lead to useful insights, and either on purpose or by accident, you will uncover things that no one has learned before, and you will contribute to human knowledge in this way. I guess I'd just say, lead with the questions and figure everything else out later. Well, I hope this was at least a little bit useful or insightful, and if you're on your PhD journey already, let me know what you're studying and let me know how it's going. I'd love to hear from you. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed, and good luck wherever you are in your academic timeline and whatever you're trying to find. Until next time, stay safe, team. I'll see you soon. Bye.